And I felt that these characters were very symbolic for the kind of abstraction that's going.
Mars Attacks, 20 Things They Tried to Keep Secret. Mars Attacks is a chaotic, darkly comic sci-fi spectacle that brought together an all-star cast, outrageous visuals, and Tim Burton's signature surreal style. Yet behind the bright colors and absurd humor lies a whirlwind of secrets, controversies, and behind-the-scenes drama that most fans never knew. From last-minute script changes to shocking actor choices and bizarre production challenges, the making of this cult classic was as unpredictable as the Martians themselves. What shocking decisions, terrifying gags, and hidden mishaps nearly derailed the film? Stay with us as we reveal 20 things the creators of Mars Attacks tried to keep secret. Tim Burton's initial vision for Mars Attacks ended on a far bleaker note than the movie audiences saw. In early drafts, nearly every major character, including the politicians, celebrities, and military leaders, was meant to perish at the hands of the Martians. The climax would have been a grim massacre, emphasizing the Martians' ruthless dominance and the sheer absurdity of humanity's incompetence. Studio executives panicked when they saw the script, fearing a mass killing spree would alienate audiences and earn the film an NC-17 rating. Burton was pressured to rewrite the ending, replacing widespread death with the now iconic, darkly humorous resolution where the Martians are defeated by a quirky Earth-based weakness. While the revised ending retained Burton's signature satire, the original concept shows how far the film initially leaned into chaos and horror. It's a glimpse of a version of Mars Attacks, far more shocking, ruthless, and unforgettable, if the studio had let it happen. Jack Nicholson, known for his unpredictable antics, secretly agreed to play not just one, but two roles in Mars Attacks: President James Dale and Art Land, the millionaire playing a politician. Initially, the production team and cast were unaware of this dual casting, adding a layer of chaos to filming. Nicholson embraced the challenge, differentiating the two characters through subtle vocal inflections, mannerisms, and facial expressions. On set, this led to confusion among co-stars, some of whom didn't realize they were interacting with the same actor in two distinct roles. The secrecy allowed Nicholson to experiment freely, injecting eccentricity and improvisation into both characters without constraints. The dual performance became one of the film's most memorable quirks, demonstrating Nicholson's fearless approach to comedy and satire. His secret casting amplified the surreal nature of the movie, creating a behind-the-scenes story as outrageous as the Martians themselves. The iconic Martians in Mars Attacks, green-skinned, oversized brains, and menacing teeth, weren't guaranteed to make it to the final film. Tim Burton and the design team initially experimented with several concepts, including more humanoid and less grotesque creatures. Some early designs were deemed too comical or too horrifying for the film's balance of satire and camp. Studio executives were nervous that audiences would reject the exaggerated, skull-faced Martians, suggesting a redesign closer to traditional sci-fi aliens. Burton, however, insisted on preserving the absurd, grotesque look that would make the Martians unforgettable. After tense meetings and test screenings, the original design survived, with minor tweaks to ensure practical effects could bring them to life. The bold design became central to the film's identity. Its combination of terror and absurdity helped Mars Attacks stand out from other alien invasion films and solidified the Martians as one of cinema's most bizarre and enduring creatures. Pierce Brosnan, cast as Professor Donald Kessler, nearly quit Mars Attacks during filming due to creative frustrations. He struggled with the film's absurd humor and Burton's surreal direction, feeling at times that the material was too over-the-top and inconsistent. Brosnan reportedly clashed with both the director and co-stars, unsure how to balance sincerity with the film's outrageous tone. Matters came to a head during scenes where his character interacts with the chaotic Martians, requiring requiring exaggerated reactions and improvisation. Feeling uncomfortable and concerned about his performance, Brosnan threatened to walk off the set. Production nearly stalled as the team scrambled to address his concerns. After long discussions with Burton and fellow actors, Brosnan returned, finding a rhythm that allowed him to deliver his lines with the perfect mix of deadpan seriousness and comedic timing. His eventual performance became a highlight, proving that even amid chaos, the right guidance can transform hesitation into brilliance. Danny DeVito, cast as the zany news anchor, had more influence on his character than most realized. Known for his improvisational skills and comedic instincts, he quietly suggested changes to lines, gestures, and delivery that weren't in the original script. DeVito's subtle tweaks made his character more memorable, adding darkly humorous reactions and offbeat timing that perfectly matched the film's chaotic tone. He experimented with expressions, vocal inflections, and interactions with other actors, creating a uniquely unpredictable presence. Co-stars often had to adjust to his improvisations, which kept scenes fresh and spontaneous. Tim Burton embraced DeVito's input, recognizing that the actor's contributions enhanced the satirical edge of the film. What might have been a standard news anchor became a quirky, scene-stealing character. DeVito's behind-the-scenes creativity demonstrates how small, secretive contributions can elevate a film, leaving a lasting impression on audiences even decades later. One of Mars Attacks' most infamous elements, the Martians' exploding heads, caused serious controversy behind the scenes. The practical effects team spent weeks perfecting the gruesome yet cartoonish explosions, but not everyone on set was comfortable with the level of gore. Some crew members felt the effect was too shocking, even for a dark comedy, arguing it risked alienating audiences and overshadowing the film's humor. Tim Burton defended the design, emphasizing that the explosions were intentionally over the top, blending horror with satire in a way only Mars Attacks could pull off. Actors filming nearby had to coordinate carefully with the effects team, ensuring safety while reacting convincingly to the bursts. The explosive heads became a signature visual gag, simultaneously horrifying and hilarious. Despite the behind-the-scenes tension, the decision to keep the effect intact contributed to the movie's cult status, cementing its reputation as one of the most bizarre and audacious alien comedies in Hollywood history. The production of Mars Attacks was plagued by constant script changes, mostly driven by studio executives concerned about tone, rating, and audience appeal. Tim Burton's original drafts leaned darker, combining absurd comedy with genuine horror, but executives feared that certain sequences might alienate viewers or push the film into an R rating. Scenes were rewritten, deleted, or reshot repeatedly. Dialogue was adjusted to soften the gore or clarify jokes, while character arcs were occasionally modified to maintain balance between parody and story coherence. Even minor lines could spark heated debates between the director and studio representatives. This constant tinkering created tension on set, challenging actors and crew to adapt quickly. Despite the chaos, Burton managed to preserve the film's signature style, a surreal, satirical, and wildly entertaining sci-fi spectacle. The relentless rewrites ultimately shaped Mars Attacks into the manic, unforgettable cult classic it remains today. Mars Attacks flirted dangerously with an R rating during production due to its graphic violence, dark humor, and shocking Martian antics. Scenes featuring exploding heads, chaotic massacres, and grotesque alien attacks alarmed the Motion Picture Association, who flagged multiple sequences as potentially too intense for a PG-13 audience. Tim Burton and the effects team faced the daunting challenge of preserving the film's outrageous tone while editing content to satisfy rating requirements. Some of the most extreme gore was toned down, explosions adjusted, and certain shots shortened or reframed to reduce perceived intensity. Actors were often asked to modify their performances to match these changes, creating additional pressure on set. Despite these compromises, the film retained its signature blend of satire, horror, and comedy. The near R rating controversy only heightened its mystique, and fans today still celebrate Mars Attacks for pushing boundaries while remaining accessible, proving Burton could balance absurdity, shock, and mainstream appeal. Sarah Jessica Parker, playing the snarky and ambitious reporter, brought her own comedic instincts to Mars Attacks, often improvising lines and reactions that weren't in the script. Her improvisation added layers of humor and unpredictability, giving her character a sharp, memorable edge amidst the chaos of the Martian invasion. One famous example occurred during a newsroom sequence where Parker ad-libbed dialogue reacting to the Martians' destruction. Tim Burton encouraged her spontaneity, recognizing that her reactions heightened the film's absurdity while grounding it in human realism. Co-stars had to adapt on the spot, creating a dynamic, almost improvisational energy on set. These unscripted moments became fan favorites, contributing to the movie's cult status. Parker's ability to blend sarcasm, timing, and genuine surprise made her character stand out, proving that even in an ensemble cast packed with stars, improvisation could leave a lasting impact. During post-production, Mars Attacks underwent multiple tonal shifts as editors and Tim Burton tried to balance satire, horror, and comedy. Initial cuts leaned heavily into dark, chaotic violence, emphasizing the Martians' ruthless behavior. Test screenings, however, revealed that some audiences found it too shocking or disjointed. In response, editors softened certain sequences, highlighted comedic timing, and restructured scenes to create a more consistent rhythm. Dialogue was adjusted, sound effects fine-tuned, and the absurdity of the Martians' antics amplified to keep the film entertaining without alienating viewers. Burton supervised closely, ensuring the film retained his surreal vision while satisfying the studio's concerns. The constant adjustments gave Mars Attacks its unique, unpredictable energy, a blend of outrageous visuals, biting satire, and campy humor. The tonal juggling act made the film polarizing at release, yet it cemented its status as a cult classic cherished for its audacious creativity. Several sequences in Mars Attacks were removed entirely because they were deemed excessively gory, even by the standards of a dark comedy. Early cuts featured more prolonged explosions, graphic alien attacks, and exaggerated human reactions that pushed the boundaries of taste and PG-13 guidelines. Tim Burton had envisioned these scenes to heighten the absurdity and shock value of the Martians' invasion, but studio executives worried they would overshadow the humor and alienate audiences. As a result, several storyboarded moments never made it to the screen, replaced with quicker, punchier cuts that retained impact while being more palatable. Actors had filmed intense reactions to these sequences, so trimming them required careful editing to maintain continuity. While the gore was reduced, the film still delivered shocking visuals and outrageous comedy. The deleted content has fueled fan fascination, with many considering the lost scenes as tantalizing glimpses into Burton's unrestrained, chaotic vision. John Williams composed the original score for Mars Attacks, blending bombastic orchestration with quirky, satirical tones to match Tim Burton's surreal vision. Interestingly, several tracks he initially wrote were abandoned before the final cut. These unused pieces were deemed either too intense, overly dramatic, or clashing with the film's comedic timing. The discarded tracks included eerie motifs for the Martians' approach, tense music for destroyed cityscapes, and even alternate heroic themes for the human characters. While some were later repurposed in other projects, their omission altered the final atmosphere, striking a balance between dark satire and playful chaos. Williams's remaining score became iconic, perfectly punctuating explosions, Martian antics, and absurd dialogue. The careful editing and selection of music enhanced the film's manic energy while softening potentially overwhelming scenes. Fans who study the soundtrack often marvel at what could have been a glimpse into a more intense, darker musical world that nearly shaped the movie. Jack Nicholson, portraying both President James Dale and Art Land, was adamant that his characters retain a darkly satirical edge. He believed the humor should bite, reflecting the absurdity and incompetence of authority figures under extreme circumstances. Nicholson often clashed with directors and co-stars who favored broader comedy. He improvised lines, added sarcastic asides, and delivered deadpan reactions to heighten the irony of his character's behavior. His insistence ensured that even amidst the film's campy chaos, there were moments of sharp, biting humor. This approach added depth, making his dual roles memorable highlights of Mars Attacks. Nicholson's dark humor also amplified the contrast between human folly and the Martian's destructive absurdity. By refusing to soften his performances, he helped create a layered comedic tone that balanced satire, horror, and surrealism, leaving an indelible mark on the movie's legacy. The elaborate costumes in Mars Attacks, from the Martians' intricate suits to the military uniforms and extravagant civilian outfits, were visually stunning but prone to problems. On several occasions, zippers jammed, helmets wouldn't stay in place, and prosthetics came loose mid-shoot, threatening to ruin entire takes. Actors had to stay in character despite wardrobe malfunctions, improvising around the issues while maintaining timing and expression. Tim Burton and the costume team often rushed to fix problems on the spot, sometimes using duct tape or quick adjustments to save shots. Certain Martian suits were particularly challenging, restricting movement and making even simple gestures difficult. Despite these setbacks, the actors' patience and professionalism kept production on track. The costumes' enduring visual impact outweighed the occasional mishaps, and the final footage still looks seamless. Fans rarely notice these behind-the-scenes struggles, but they highlight the dedication and problem-solving required to bring Burton's wild vision to life. The Martian language in Mars Attacks, a series of high-pitched guttural shrieks, was created in secret by a sound designer working closely with Tim Burton. No script detailed the exact sounds, leaving actors to react spontaneously on set, enhancing the aliens' chaotic energy. The language was carefully crafted to be both bizarre and humorous, allowing the Martians to appear menacing while maintaining a cartoonish, absurd quality. Voice actors recorded multiple variations, which were then layered with sound effects to produce the final alien chatter. This secretive approach kept the Martians mysterious and unpredictable. The unique sounds became one of the film's most iconic features, reinforcing the absurdity of the invasion and cementing their status as some of cinema's most bizarre and memorable extraterrestrials. To manage the physically demanding Martian roles, multiple actors were assigned to play the same character at different times. The suits were heavy, restrictive, and required precise coordination for stunts and action sequences. Using several performers ensured no single actor became exhausted or injured during filming. Each actor trained to replicate specific gestures, movements, and the Martian walk, maintaining consistency on screen. This coordination was especially important during chaotic battle scenes where Martians were thrown, exploded, or manipulated by rigging. The strategy allowed the production to film efficiently while keeping performers safe. Although audiences see seamless Martians in the final cut, the use of multiple actors highlights the hidden efforts and careful planning that brought Burton's surreal alien army vividly to life. Mars Attacks is packed with surprise appearances, many of which were filmed secretly and went uncredited. Celebrities and industry friends slipped in as background characters, reporters, and government officials, adding layers of insider humor for attentive viewers. Tim Burton encouraged these uncredited cameos to create a sense of unpredictability and fun, keeping audiences guessing about who might appear next. Actors had to improvise their actions to fit naturally within chaotic scenes, often interacting with main cast members in ways that enhanced comedic timing. These hidden appearances became a talking point for fans, who enjoy spotting familiar faces in fleeting moments. The secret cameos not only enriched the film's texture, but reinforced Burton's playful approach, blending celebrity culture, satire, and sheer cinematic absurdity. The ambitious visual effects in Mars Attacks, from exploding heads to flying saucers, presented constant challenges that threatened to delay production. Complex miniatures, pyrotechnics, and compositing techniques often malfunctioned, requiring multiple takes to achieve the desired result. Tim Burton and the effects team faced tight deadlines, balancing practical effects with early CGI integration. Weather conditions, technical glitches, and safety concerns further complicated sequences, especially those involving large-scale destruction or stunts with the Martians. Despite these obstacles, the team persevered, adjusting rigs, refining models, and coordinating meticulously to keep filming on schedule. The painstaking effort paid off. The chaotic, over-the-top visuals became a defining feature of the movie, contributing to its cult status and proving that perseverance behind the scenes can create unforgettable cinematic spectacle. The explosive sequences of Mars attacks were visually spectacular, but not without mishaps. On multiple occasions, practical effects went awry, accidentally destroying carefully constructed sets. Walls collapsed too early, props flew into unintended areas, and miniature cityscapes suffered more damage than planned. Crew members scrambled to repair or rebuild sets quickly, often working overnight to keep production on schedule. Actors had to perform around the chaos, reacting convincingly to environments that were changing unexpectedly. While stressful at the time, these accidents sometimes added realism to the mayhem, enhancing the film's absurd and chaotic tone. Behind the scenes, it became a testament to the cast and crew's adaptability, showing how unexpected disasters can inadvertently contribute to a movie's energy and charm. Tim Burton's surreal, darkly comedic vision for Mars attacks often conflicted with the studio's marketing plans. Executives wanted to emphasize the film as a broad, family-friendly comedy, downplaying its gore, satire, and chaotic absurdity. Burton resisted, insisting that the movie's appeal lay in its audacious style, satirical edge, and ensemble chaos. This clash led to disagreements over posters, trailers, and promotional material, some of which misrepresented the film's tone. Burton feared that marketing it as a conventional comedy would mislead audiences and diminish the impact of his carefully crafted humor. Despite tensions, the film found its audience, eventually becoming a cult classic celebrated for its eccentricity. The behind-the-scenes struggle illustrates how creative vision and commercial considerations often collide in Hollywood. Mars Attacks remains a chaotic, audacious cult classic that defied expectations and pushed cinematic boundaries. From shocking effects to secret cameos and behind-the-scenes drama, its making was as wild as the story itself. Decades later, fans still celebrate Burton's audacious vision and the film's unforgettable, absurd charm.